earth-centered paradigm rather than an arrogant, narrow, reductionist, mechanistic, science, expert-based paradigm.
Do you know what will happen?
I just want to interrupt for a second to say, Gwynne Dyer, if you can explain, I don't even think most people understand what geoengineering is.
Geoengineering is short-term interventions to avoid a climate runaway disaster in order to give us more time to get our emissions down, which in themselves will cause a runaway climate disaster if we simply allow them to go ahead. Without geoengineering, you hit that disaster in less than 50 years. And you probably need more than 50 years to get your emissions down. Now, first of all, obviously, you've got to do the experiments. You've got to figure out, are there horrendous side effects you don't want to do? But if you don't do this, you know who dies first. It's the people in the tropics and the subtropics. Not up here. We watch you die on television.
Can I ask you, in terms of geoengineering, what companies or what governments are now promoting this as a potential solution?
We still don't have any official government commitment to it anywhere.
What companies are investing in it and developing it?
Companies are investing in a couple of marginal things that, frankly, I don't believe have any credibility. Vandana mentioned iron filings chucked into the sea. Well, I don't think that's actually...
What does that do?
Well, the idea was you cause blooms of algae, which will then die, and as they their bodies drop to the seabed, embed carbon in the seabed and take it out of the atmosphere.
Volcanoes, what are they?
The volcanoes, the idea is big volcanoes, when they explode, put sulfur dioxide, large amounts of it, into the stratosphere, where it stays for a couple of years because it doesn't rain up there. The particles stay, and they reflect enough sunlight to lower the temperature at the Earth.
And seeding the clouds?
Seeding the clouds is make them more reflective. Spray up some seawater into low-lying clouds, and they'll reflect a little bit more incoming sunlight than they did before.
And what else?
And lower the temperature. The other proposals, I mentioned the paint the house roofs white, but I think that's probably a one-time solution. There are other.
I wouldn't object to that.
No, I wouldn't
What
object.
color you paint, it doesn't really matter.
There's a new one that's come up recently. A fellow at Harvard suggested that you could actually begin with rivers and reservoirs, but put rather microscopic scale bubbles into the water, which would whiten it. In other words, it would reflect more sunlight than normal dark water does, without actually changing the quality of the water.
And has one asked the corporations involved?
In none of these cases so far are there corporations involved. This is coming out of the scientific community. They're looking for links with both the Pentagon, I think, and the scientific community, and with corporate funding. But the initiatives are coming out of the scientific community. Scientific community is scared and desperate. I mean, there's an undercurrent of panic in most of the interviews that I held.
Well, Vandana, Gwynne's argument that there's just not enough time to talk about the people-oriented solutions you're talking about.
Well, the first thing is there's never enough time, but you have to find the solutions. And to use the excuse of immediacy and urgency to take the wrong action is not a solution. In terms of time, we do organic farming, and again in my book, Soil Not Oil, we've shown that a localized ecological biodiverse system of farming could solve 40% of the climate problem, because 40% emissions are coming from food miles, nitrogen oxide emissions, cutting down the Amazon forest, all linked to a globalized industrialized food system. Tomorrow we can do that. In 3 years' time, all of the world's farming could be ecological, absorbing the carbon dioxide and putting fertility back in the soil. It's not a 50-year experiment. It's a assured, guaranteed path that has been shown to work, and it does three things for you. It reduces emissions while increasing food security and food productivity, and increasing water security, because soils rich in carbon and organic matter are the best reservoir of water. But I want to just mention, actually there's, just as there are a group of scientists who are panicking because of their reductionist approach, I'm a scientist. The reason I do ecology today is because I realized science was just shrinking in terms of the knowledge an individual gets in a particular stream. And so many of the narrow expertise is where you're getting this panic, because they don't know there are other solutions. I'd love to take some of your geoengineering friends from the scientific community to our farm to show here's a solution that works in the short run, in the immediate run. But There is an organized
I don't
movement
think
now.
that
I want to mention this.
Yes.
There's a
Okay.
movement against geoengineering called HOME, Hands Off Mother Earth. Citizens telling irresponsible scientists, arrogant in their power, hands off Mother Earth.
Look, your solutions are good. They will work, and if you were the dictator of the world and could impose...
Which I would never be.
No, but let
I
me
would never
finish. Let me finish. If you were the dictator of the
We have
world
10
and
seconds.
could change land ownership patterns in the United States like that, you could have it all done in 3 years.
It'll
You
happen.
can't do that.
No, it
not
will
in 3
happen.
years, not
the
in
young
30.
people will. They're ready to make change.
We will leave it there. Vandana Shiva, her books, well, among them, Soil, Not Oil, and Gwynne Dyer, Climate Wars, The Fight for Survival as the World Overheats. That does it for our broadcast. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our website is democracynow.org. Thanks for joining us.